Welcome back. You're watching The Interviews. I'm Dan Hansen, and today I'm going to be joined by Mike Cherry from Cherry Painting. Cherry Painting is just one of the many professional painting contractor companies that we work with on a regular basis at RepcoLite. And like most of them, Mike's got a great story. We're going to dig into that. We're going to talk about how he started painting and absolutely detested the work, detested it, and how he went from that to turning it into a very successful career. We'll get that whole scoop along the way. And on top of that, we'll also be talking about some of the concerts that he's gone to. Mike's a huge music buff. That will come out in this interview. We'll talk about the concerts that he's been to. Concerts all over the country. The guy's traveled to see a lot of cool stuff. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about his guitar addiction, or maybe it's not an addiction. We'll let you decide about that. We'll get to all of that in a little bit. Before we dive in, though, I do want to remind you, if you do like this kind of content, it really helps us out if you like the video, if you subscribe to the channel, and if you ring the little notification bell, and that way you'll be notified every time we drop new content like this. So with that said, if you've got any comments or questions, something you'd like us to talk about on a future episode, just throw those in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. All right, all of that's out of the way. Let's get to the interview with Mike Cherry. All right, let's start at the beginning. Your dad, I know, played a role in you becoming a painter.
Still plays it.
Still plays that.
Yeah, still plays the role of whatever chief executor. He's pretty on call all the time. I got a question here and there and what they did, and obviously paint's advanced in since he started back in the late 70s.
Because he was doing this first,
He
right?
was doing it on the side. Yep, he did it on the side with a friend of his. They were doing some suburban Detroit stuff, Milford area. Waterford, Mott now, all that area that was developing, is still developing now, but really developing back in the late 70s, early 80s. Boom. So they were going subdivision to subdivision. Young kids. My dad was an 18-year-old kid, I believe, at the time, 17, 18, and just working on a crew that his friend's brother started.
Okay.
One of those fake it till you make it deals,
Yeah,
I think.
So he didn't know anything
He didn't know a freaking thing. And fast forward how many years later, we've kind of turned this into, he was doing residential repaints and went on to get a degree. He taught for 36 years.
At what level?
He was a high school, so he's
high school teaching in the summers. He's painting.
Correct.
Real common. We see a lot of that.
Yep. That, and I see construction guys doing some of that too. They come in and they'll paint in the wintertime when they're off. So, but yeah, anyway, he did that for my whole life. I'm 30, just turned 32, so as long as I've known my dad, he's painted in the summertime. So enjoyed it. I hated it. I actually absolutely hated it.
So when did you start with him?
So I was probably 13, 14 years old. He was really good. My brother and I were really active in sports. So my brother went on to be a college athlete and running and stuff and All-American and all that kind of thing.
And you were incredibly proud of him.
I'm very proud of him.
Okay,
I'm super proud of my brother. He's my best friend.
Well,
I'm still trying to get him to paint a little bit in the summertime. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little tough sometimes on him, but
what sport? What was
he was a
playing?
cross-country runner.
Cross-country?
Yeah, cross-country and track. So
people would have to be chasing me to get me to
Oh, that's what
and
everybody
even then,
said.
I'd have to debate,
Sure.
is this really worth what?
Sure. No, I don't know what happened. He could turn his pain tolerance is so much greater than mine. So he ran 14 minutes or something in a 5K. And like I said, the accolades are pages and pages long for him. So, but again, super proud.
Yeah.
Glad one of us could do that. I was just not gifted like that. So,
Well, you went into the painting, and then you're trying to get him into that, but he's got other things to do.
Yeah. He's so he teaches there in Grand Haven. He's got a great job, 5th grade position in Grand Haven now. Loves it.
Your brother?
Yep.
So he teaches as well.
He teaches as well.
Is your dad still teaching? Or?
Dad retired 3 years. This will be 3 years in June.
Okay,
He's
so
out.
brother teaches 5th grade.
5th grade, yep. His wife teaches. My aunt taught. My cousins both teach. One in Utah, one in Shelby, Hart area.
Did they all paint in the summers?
None of them.
Your brother's not.
Yeah, no,
All
I
right.
can't. It's like I don't know. Maybe they just with teachers they like their summers off.
Yeah.
So it's my degree. Got a degree in teaching. The dad and backstory and just kind of pushing us to want a little more than being what I thought being put a knock on painting. So
Yeah.
he didn't really want us to like it. So in fact, I hated it.
Well, mission accomplished, Dad.
He did. He made us hate it. We had not like super long, but 10 hours as a 14-year-old kid.
Yeah, it feels like an eternity.
Well, and again, how many closets can you do? It's where he let us do closets, you know? That's about where he trusted us, but it was either running long hours or long distances during the weekends and after school and then, of course, summer break. If you don't want to get a job, then you better get good at something. So, now all these years later, I'm so blessed that he took me in and had me do that with him.
So how long did you do that with him until you decided?
Off and on. I wasn't, like I said, I didn't really like it. And like, again, how many closets can you do to where you go, wow, where am I going to progress into the next thing? I didn't know how to.
So you weren't looking at it as, okay, I'm going to build this into something. You're looking for another way
Not
out.
a chance. Not a chance. There was a goal for sure to get a degree in something at that point. A 14-year-old kid, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Sometimes I still don't know what I want to do. No, so we went to high school and finished really well in my class and got a pretty good scholarship academically to Grand Valley State and then finished with a teacher.
You went through Grand Valley for the whole thing?
Yep, went through Grand Valley the whole thing and had a great time. Loved college. It was a great atmosphere and Allendale's actually
Grand Valley. That's where I went too. I loved it.
It's actually a little coming from Podunkville, USA, out to my friends in Hesperia, or just even Newaygo County. It's a pretty good shift coming down here, but really you take 2 or 3 blocks in Allendale and you were just as country as you are in Hesperia. So I was right at home.
No,
really
when
right
I
at
was
home.
there, it wasn't nearly, of course, as built up as it is now. So
Yeah.
The library, it's not, the library that's there now wasn't there.
Huge,
we had a
huge.
different building.
Yep.
And it just looked out over just empty fields.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Massive.
That aspect of it.
Yeah, I had a great time, and I switched my pathway like a lot of kids do, probably a half dozen times.
Yep,
where I
yep.
was going to law enforcement and natural resource management, and there was some science stuff I was starting to like, and I was just like trying to find my way. And then you try to think of something you want to do for 35 years. I don't know how kids do that at 18 years old. I just don't.
It's insane. My kids are trying to do it now.
I don't
And
know.
I'm having that conversation with them. I don't know what to tell you.
Sure. And let alone pay for it. You're not
Right.
thinking about it at that time. At least I wasn't.
Yeah.
Scholarships and some things, but you're just, take another loan, take another loan, take another loan.
Yeah.
Well, Uncle Sam's calling at some point to pay those back. So, I am and currently will for a long time, but settled on teaching. Something I did develop a love for it. I still like teaching. It was just a matter of, could I do this for 35 plus years?
So did you start teaching?
Started teaching. Yep.
So you had a position.
I was actually
what grade?
I was secondary ed as well.
Okay,
Social studies is my major and a history minor. I didn't become real versed in picking my minor, but I just loved history. So I went that whole route and decided, like, I did 2 years of long-term sub positions, had a few full-times across the state that had offers to go. And this was about 5, I've been out, this will be 6 years now. And right around this time, April, May time, and just didn't want to move. Liked it here. I had a longtime girlfriend at the time, and I just did not want to go across the state. I love my family here. I love West Michigan. This is where I want to put down my roots. So, patience, right? Patience. And then, I don't know, probably 3 years of just subbing all over Newaygo County, Oceana County too. And I think I just got burnt out from not having my own classroom. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It's a great question of where I wanted to go, and I just wasn't sure academics was my thing.
Yeah.
So what do you do now? Right? What are you going to do now, son?
Gulp.
Dad is going, you got to pay this money back and yada, yada, yada. And then COVID hits, and we have the whole COVID deal, and you don't have to pay your loans right now. And again, long stories, but fall back on what was something I thought I hated was painting. So
you went into it thinking, okay, I know I hate this, but
I guess
I got to do something.
Sure. And I wasn't really, again, weird residential repaint. So Dad wasn't doing, 6 or 7 homes a summer like we've been doing now.
Right.
So it wasn't like I was really involved. I mean, we're doing somebody's bathroom or somebody's, hey, we're going to do 2 bedrooms and would you do them, or just ceilings sometimes, or, oh, we don't want our whole house painted. We want the softened fascia painted, those kind of things. So it wasn't, I'm not going to say super demanding, but it was, you start to go, well, then the cash flow comes in, and now I'm 18 at the time or 19 and going, ooh, I like that cash.
Yeah.
It's pretty quick. And we were in and out, and a week on a full home and a repaint and just doing walls. And so I liked that money, and then it became the people, starting to talk to people. Like, not here I'm coming.
Still working with your dad at this.
Still working with my dad. Yep, but we're talking homeowners, and you're starting to go to the trades. And at this time I was pretty heavily into Sherwin-Williams.
Okay.
I just had got into went that route, like a lot of people do. Yeah. There's one on every corner, right? It's.
Then you saw the light.
I saw the light. I had Aaron Van Dalsen. I'll give him a shout out. He's my rep, and I don't know where it was. Somewhere I was doing a house on Lake Michigan, an exterior, and Aaron Van Dalsen gave me his card or something. I can't remember. And hey, mind if I come out and take a look, like salesmen do?
Yeah.
And been one of the best decisions I've made professionally was that right there.
What? Just letting him stop out and talk to him?
Yep. And that was
Why?
it.
What was so good about that?
Aaron's just a great guy in general, very approachable. I don't know if he feels like he found his calling. I hope he does, because he's got it. He's got the personal skill,
He's
the
a
people
good rep.
skill.
We really like working with him.
So that was probably just it. Not really. I mean, to me, paint sometime is paint. But again, back to the people. Sherwin was going through a bunch of different. They always do. I was getting another rep every 6 months. Again, hey, I'm so and so. Hey, I'm Bob. I'm here. You new sales. Well, what happened to Joe? Or fill in the blank name. And that was getting tiresome. Mm-hmm. And then people. So the familiarity. I'm used to that, right? Coming from education, you're used to 30-year people in your school.
Right.
They're your elders. They're either one. So a little bit of turnover, but it wasn't much. So I didn't like that. I was really not into that game as much. So I get in with RepcoLite. I'm out of Muskegon, Port City. Abe,
yeah, they've been
Roy. I don't think he's gonna outlive me. So he's gonna keep going. And Abe and Ryan up there, and Aaron and Riley. It's just a good crew. So
and it's steady. It's they don't go away.
No,
we don't have a lot of turnover. And I know that's such a big deal. I do different stuff with the marketing, but I had a radio rep that I worked with from the very beginning, since I took over the marketing position. So 15, 16 years. And he left his position about 6 months ago, 4 months ago.
Okay.
And man, it jolted everything. My whole system changes. And you wouldn't realize, because I didn't realize the work he did behind the scenes, but just that person that I knew.
Yep.
And that's what you've got with Aaron, is just him. He knows what you're working on, and that makes conversation so much easier.
Doesn't matter what day. I don't know. Sometimes they like to pick jokes on me because I go in. So I'm painting a subdivision across the road from RepcoLite in Muskegon, Port City Paints. Of course, I'm there sometimes 3 times a day. I don't like to make lists. I mean, it's just me. Why do I need to when I'm right across the road, right? So it's been a lot of fun. I hope it continues, obviously. I'm not going anywhere. They're obviously not going anywhere. No.
So when did you start off on your own, or does your dad work for you now?
Yeah, he's pretty much retired. Occasionally he'll come out. He likes to prime. He likes to come out and prime, runs a sprayer. Sometimes I like to get him a workout for back roll and ceilings. He'll like to do that.
Have him do some closets or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Turn the tables on him.
Sure. Yeah, we transitioned into that. Got really lucky. Dave Deuce and Dan Custom Homes, where I've been the last probably 3 years. Took a chance on me, so we and my dad at the time, and that blossomed into going from bathrooms, literally bathrooms, and residential repaints of walls and ceilings. Very little trim at that time, but we were transitioning from that honey oak trim to spraying it white, cabinetry. So I was doing a little bit of that, and transitioned under Jerry Jarowitz Painting. And he kind of took me under his wing about 3 years ago now, and it's been new construction ever since, which has been an awesome financial break. For me that was a definite thing. But then now it's becoming, you watching the markets and things, how things are going versus just painting people's homes that they're living in. So we traded that. What do you say? I tried to trade that personal. Now that we don't really talk to a homeowner anymore, right? Because
Right, you're working with a builder.
Yeah, builder, developer, and so we kind of gone away from that social part. But the group of guys that you're working with now in the developing is you're a little more professional guys, and you're just excited to see these swaths of land.
Yeah.
I don't like paving paradise to put up a parking lot. I don't like that. But I do like the money.
Yeah, it's always that balance.
Sure.
How much can I tolerate?
Sure.
Enough.
Yeah,
enough.
I know. My grandparents had a big, before I was even around, had big swaths of land and stuff that's starting to develop, and you hate to see that, but
Well, you're not developing it. You're just making it look good.
You're right.
You know, it's going to be there anyway. It might as well look good.
I tell everybody, I can't stop this from happening. I just got to go along for the ride. So, and again, I'm blessed for that. So yeah, my dad's kind of transitioned out of, he's just an elder, right? He's my dad. Really, between my dad and my brother, best friends. We never really got, father, son get a little heated when now your son is your quote boss, which I never like to. I
don't ever want to experience that.
Nope, and I would
unless
never.
My son's loaded.
Yeah.
And he gives me a really good lucrative position.
No, I never want to, and I hope my dad never felt that way, like I was watching over him, that kind of thing. He's the one that taught me, right?
Yeah.
So there's no.
That is a weird dynamic.
It's a very weird dynamic. How dude is, teaching me to walk and talk and.
How do you get after your dad?
Yeah, how do you get after your own dad? And I think for me, it's just sometimes it's a speed thing. It's like, I want it done. You got to do it right. He knows to do it correct. But now there's that fine line between speed and, hey, I can't have you taking 2 days to,
Dad,
fill and
you're
sail
slow.
these.
We're going to have to let you go.
Dad, I really don't want to have to let you go here, but no.
That's awesome.
No,
that's
so
crazy.
yeah, so he just kind of transitioned out a little bit. He's enjoying his retirement. He's traveling quite a bit.
Yeah.
He developed Parkinson's. He had Parkinson's, diagnosed with Parkinson's about, this is probably year 6 now.
Okay.
And so I think that's a very big eye opener for all of us in our family. So he's just loving. He lost both his folks last year. 2024 is a tough year for us as a family.
Yeah,
and,
my goodness.
Him, yeah, and his so I think he just. I don't want to say you see that light dimmering, right? I don't want to say that, but you only have so much time to do the things you want to do.
Right.
And not that he doesn't want to play second hand to his son in some house in Muskegon County, but boy, there's a lot of United States, there's a lot of world out there to do.
Now, my dad had a heart attack, I don't know, 3 years ago or so. And it was one of those things. He was so healthy, always doing something. He's hauling something out of the basement, a big piece of furniture,
Yeah.
because that's what he does. He just completely pushes himself beyond what's normal.
That's what our dads do.
Passes out at the top of the steps. Complete eye opener. Open heart surgery, and I was doing well again. But it was that wake up call where you think, man, you take so much for granted, especially when your parents are clicking along just fine.
Right.
Man, you just don't know what's coming. You want to make the most of what you've got.
And I'm so glad he's able to do that. He worked his butt off. He was, he did the right thing. He's got to put a 25, 35-year-old roof over his head, a beautiful home. My mom is set. I'm so happy to have parents that I do, because obviously I wouldn't be here, but now to see him be able to do some of the stuff that somebody that worked that many years can now do. So, I think they're going to Utah here for doing a 2-week van trip out there end of next week.
Oh, wow.
Whatever.
So they're all over the place.
Yeah, they do that. And then my grandparents lived in Florida, so he was down. He actually just painted their house. As mentioned, losing them last year, so they're getting ready to put the house up for sale, which is obviously very bittersweet. But Dad decided we're going to paint the exterior and make it, get it
Did he hire
into
you
ship
guys
shape.
to come out and do it?
I was actually he was actually a little bit ticked that I was a little busy during this time because I'm like, Dad, I'm really sorry I can't just take off. I had big obligation to get this one done. We were behind schedule on a job, and so I couldn't go. So he went down and did just about all of it. His brother helped a little bit, but he did most about all of it. Just did it. Stucco. It's a lot
like
faster.
Dad's.
Yeah, he just kept going, and it looks great. It looks like $1 million, and they'll get their money back out of the house for sure. But
So what's a day look like for you? Like a normal day? You know, I think a lot of people out there think, I guess I don't know what they think. I've got all kinds of visions of how much fun it is. But are you painting the house? Are you running things behind the scenes? How big is your crew? I guess I should start with that first.
Yeah. So I got a couple guys that I like to sub some of the smaller stuff now. Like I said, the bathrooms and because they are important. They need painted. People need stuff painted. In any trade, the networking is super, super important. You know, that we're talking now, getting our names out there is super important. But if someone doesn't see your work and doesn't have you, if you're not on the job, you know, even at 32 now, I still, if I'm not like on the job or at least coming by to check on what was done or what didn't get done, and your name is just now at the bottom of the pile, and it stops there, right? It stops with you, right? You're the homeowner. I'm coming to paint, and blah blah blah. Someone's screwing around or didn't do this right and that, and next thing you know, you don't pass out Cherry Painting anymore,
Right.
or Bob's Builders or whatever. You just don't do it, and so that's money, right? It's like a. So I learned a long time. My dad is great that way too. It was always clean handshakes and smiles, and you guys are dressed clean, and you're not swearing on the jobs, and you know, actually try to limit your interactions with the homeowners is what he would tell us.
Some of you shouldn't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
You know?
We don't trust you with, obviously we trust. He showed us how much he trusts us. You were in the closet, dude. Paint that closet. Don't talk to anybody.
But it's your name. It's your company.
Sure.
It's everything about it right there. Every single interaction, every crew member, every person.
Sure. So it really most of the time is just me now. It was full time, my dad and I, for 4 or 5 years. I mean, we just went hard. And then when he started to slow down, wanting to slow down, and then of course, like I just mentioned, going his retirement deal and loving it, it is like, okay, opened a hole. But I also could see throughout those years working under people, myself, over the last, since I've been out of college even, that were subbing me to some stuff, and I just see how fast loyalty is thrown out the window. And I've been super fortunate to be able to get in the position I was with a couple contractors and developers of fairly large, 80, 90 home subs. And I wasn't the only painter in there, but at least maybe I was feeling like I was the most trusted. So I was doing a little more, and I am doing more than I thought I would ever do. If once I hire somebody, it's very, very cutthroat in any trade. I found that out too. So it doesn't matter where you're at.
I'm slow. I'm always slow.
Yeah.
And when I do the editing later, and
Okay.
I think, man, what are you thinking, Dan?
Mm-hmm.
How did you not track along?
Yep.
You're alone.
I'm alone. I'm mostly
Everybody else is
mostly
nodding.
alone.
Like, yes, welcome to the party, Dan.
Yeah.
I just arrived.
Yeah, no.
So that's what you're saying.
Yeah, mostly
All of this by
alone.
yourself.
Yep, sole proprietor. I mean, I'm an LLC, but I'm just sole proprietor on my stuff. And
So new homes, entire
New
homes.
homes,
How
yep.
long does it take you to do a new home?
that's a great question. So we get
Well, I'm
usually
a professional.
Yeah, we get usually 2 weeks.
Okay.
And by I say we, each trade is usually about that time, and that's just through builder. And things bleed over. We run into some issues, and Abe's got at Port City's got to work on my sprayer. You name it. These things happen, hiccups. But I mean, probably start to finish after when trim's done. I got about 2 weeks before flooring's coming in, or really tile first.
And you move through all of that by yourself.
Yeah, usually, I mean, they're long, again, 10, 12s, sometimes 14s, and an occasional weekend in there. And by I say weekend, I'm rarely working Sundays anymore, but a Saturday afternoon or something, go in at noon and work till 4,
Okay.
little bit. But yeah, most of the time I've got another guy that's just kind of coming on with me a little bit because we got so busy, and then all of a sudden there was like a lull again. So how do you keep people, again, folks listening are going, yeah, you listen, young punk. What do you think we're doing trying to keep a crew of 12 or, Millenbergs and stuff that got 150 guys? How do you manage that? So I envy all of you listening that got big crews. I don't think I want to go that route. Maybe just 2 or 3
It
extra
changes
guys.
everything, the dynamic.
Yeah.
Now you're people managing, and
Yeah.
and there's a lot more going on.
Sure.
That's different.
Maybe at some point in my life, I love hands-on. I like being the guy. I'm the one running the sprayer. I love, even when Dad was working with me full time, I'd be spraying.
Yeah.
He's been doing it for off and on for 30, 40 years now.
And he could let that go?
And he could let that go.
Okay.
It was not, I don't know.
Kudos to Dad.
Yeah, I don't know where it was. Like, I'm his son. Why didn't he instill that to me, for me to be able to let that go, to let this guy that I'm trying to train or
Maybe
something.
someday.
Maybe someday.
He wouldn't have done that. I'm learning when my kids were little, I would take it out of their hands because they were kind of dopes.
Yep.
They didn't know what they were doing.
Now
they're smarter, and I'm happy to let them go.
Exactly, yeah. I want to say that somewhere in there he decided to. I wish I could pinpoint when it was. But now he'll call me. Hey, what do you think on this? Just like for example, Florida house he's doing there. His folks. What tip should I be using on this? What do you mean? What tip you should be using? Dad, you've been doing this for. I mean, I didn't say it like that.
No,
I would never word it like that. But what? You're using the same stuff. He's using Benjamin Moore paint down there. So just little things where he second guesses and wants to ask me now, which again is. Well,
he sees you as the expert. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's
humble. I mean, it's a
very
humble
humbling
thing to do.
That's the word I'm looking for. It's very, very humbling. I'd never take that for granted. I never would. And so there's a transition there of, now I want to be able to train somebody, and I have. And like I said, I got a couple guys that are doing some smaller stuff for me that I'd like to hopefully transition them into now stop doing that. And now you're working with me hand in
somewhere
hand.
Down the road.
Somewhere down the road.
So let's shift out of paint for a little bit.
Sure.
You've got all kinds of stuff that you do. And I want to get to this. You're a huge music guy.
Oh, yeah.
You've concerts. That's what I want to focus on first, because there's other music stuff I want to get to. But concerts, you've seen everybody from the Rolling Stones to Paul McCartney.
Mm-hmm.
Now, see, that's about as big as it gets for me. What's been the best concert experience that you've had?
Because I said you mentioned, and I mentioned in our interview, the questionnaire you gave me, so many. I'm trying to think on my way here even how many I had been to at the young and energetic age of 32. Why is a 32-year-old loving the Stones, right? Or even Paul McCartney and
because they're all very good.
They're all very, very good. And I guess, again, my dad instilled in me, or sometimes a lot of people listen to their dad's stuff too, or mom's stuff back in my mom loves Heart, and, and I love it too, and I don't know, it never left me. That never, ever left. I kept listening. Classic rock, step in any job site. The plumber's got 101.7, blah, 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 blah. And they're listening to some classic rock. There's a couple headbangers in there, and occasionally we got some gospel going on over here, and it's different floors. Everybody's got their job site radio. Which floor are you on today? So I never have to bring my radio. I never have to bring anything, because
milk off of somebody else.
Sure,
and you can tolerate the music. You like the music, whatever. I
love every one of them. I've seen everything. I just saw Chris Daughtry.
Daughtry. Is he
American Idol?
American Idol?
Yeah, he's top. I think he was 10th or something in American Idol. He's transitioned to more metal now.
Yeah.
Not as much per se, but getting there. He's on the verge of going full core metal.
Well, when did you see Paul McCartney?
Oh man, he was in Grand Rapids. For those listening, help me out.
He was in Grand Rapids?
He was in Grand Rapids.
Where was I at this?
I know. You know what? So many people have said that. Like, I can't believe I didn't go. And you know who really wanted to go most out of all this? My dad's a massive Beatles fan. My mom. She wanted us to go as a family. I was probably 17, 18. Again, there's the date is on there somewhere. We can find it on Google. But he came, and I think my mom just said, well, he's never going to come to Grand Rapids again. And, of course, I'm thinking, nah, he's probably going to come to Grand Rapids. Van Andel's pretty big, and I think my mom was right.
Yeah, I don't think so.
He will ever.
Did you all go as a group?
We all went, my brother, myself.
Did she scream?
Nope, she didn't scream as much.
Yes.
I think my dad cried a little bit.
Okay, your dad
I didn't
cried.
Yeah. I don't think, I think I did probably cry during Let It Be. I get my emotions from my dad.
Yeah.
It was just, again, something I,
That's
at the
amazing.
time, said I listened to it my whole life.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a 70-year-old man or a 60-year-old man or a 50-year-old man that had listened to it his whole life, but I listened since I was, old enough to listen to music, 10 years old or something, that my dad would have Let It Be, right?
Yeah.
The angels came down, I think, at that. We're sitting in our row, probably just sitting in all of
so cool.
Van Andel Arena.
That is so cool.
Yeah. Whenever he was there, I just saw the Stones last June, I believe it was, down at Cleveland. So I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and saw the Stones, and we had great seats. Another friend of mine, another guy I painted his house, become really good friends with. My dad was friends with. We're going to see the Stones together. So it was him and his son. My dad actually did have open heart surgery that week. So he was not able to go. We were all supposed to go. He was not good. He had a triple bypass, totally unexpected. Obviously, we're glad he caught that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Caught it before that could have got really bad.
In there.
Like you mentioned. Yeah. So he wasn't able to go, but we said hopefully it comes around again. But yeah, so the Stones, Stevie Nicks a couple times.
Anyone jump out at you as like that?
Yeah. Circle back around. Jackson Browne is my dad and I's favorite. Definitely was my dad's favorite. It became my favorite probably because of my dad. We love James Taylor and Jackson Browne. It was just those are the two, and they've always stuck out to me. That was probably my favorite. We saw them third row at Van Andel. Jackson Browne actually opened for James Taylor. This was right after COVID. Masks.
Yeah, I remember this one when it happened.
Yep, had to have a mask on, of course, and it was just like maybe that was part of it too. We had all.
You like the masks?
No, no.
You've been caged in.
I've been caged. Well, think we had we couldn't do anything. Couldn't even go to get a burger, downtown or so. A lot of that stuff we take for granted now.
Oh yeah.
I hope people do not. But I did, and we couldn't do it. And guess what else we couldn't do? Go to concerts, right? Full of 10,000 people or whatever they fit at Van Andel. So we had that right after COVID. So it was just like, sure, and then to have both your guys, right? Both your guys you listened to, that my dad listened to, and learn to play guitar from those guys. That was probably my most important, or at least my most memory.
Yeah, that's really cool. Now you talked about you play guitar.
Yeah.
And I know we did a little talking before you came here. I do the same. Mm-hmm. And what do you have? You said that you've got more guitars than you wanted to even mention, because it is embarrassing, isn't it?
Sometimes because for me, and I wouldn't even. It's really not that many. But where's the hobby and the addiction begin, that kind of thing. That's where it's I'm not there yet, but it's becoming.
But that's what the addicted people say.
It's right.
No, that's not me. I don't have that problem.
Coffee,
that's other people.
Coffee, guitars. Yeah.
So how long have you been playing?
This will probably be my 14th year, I believe. Right. I was a senior in high school. I think I started off. I was 120 pounds. That's probably giving myself a little too much credit. Probably 110 pounds, dripping wet, coming out of high school, running. I did a marathon when I was 18, senior. Not the most. Still
it's hard to work against that headwind.
Guys at Port City will still say it's working against me. Yeah. The looks are working against you. Definitely able to be throwing me under the bus. Yeah, I think I just started to play guitar to go, man, I got to be a little more appealing here. Something.
I got to have something.
Something. So I don't know, somewhere along in there. Yeah.
So, like, you've got multiple guitars. Do you have electric? Is it acoustic?
Yeah.
What music style do you lean towards? James Taylor, Jackson Browne. That's going to lean a little more acoustic. James Taylor for sure.
Definitely more acoustic, and that's what my dad played. I've got a Les Paul now. So I play a little more. Nice Marshall tube and my own pedal board, and it's taking up half my house. Play a little keyboard, that kind of stuff.
The pedal board, that's a problem. That's a money problem, isn't it?
It's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, because you get this first one, and wow, that really changed everything. But now I need...
How many tube screamers does a guy need?
I know. Well, and then you've got to have the board, and then it's the fun of organizing the board and laying out the pedals all in the right
You're speaking my language here. You're not helping an addict here.
No.
So it's really become a little more addicting now, and there's a little the addiction is grown. But
so do you record stuff? Do you do stuff?
Not
like
as much. And because I can't sing very well, my dad would be like, "Oh man, you've been tone deaf since you're born." Yeah, thanks, Dad. So I try a little more, and
that hurts the soul, doesn't it?
It does a little.
I'm right
bit.
Where you're at. I wanna, but I can't.
He's super critical. He's super critical guy. We again love for music and love to hear the improvements of people. I haven't really improved probably as much as he wants me to in that regard. So I've just accompanied people in weddings and talent shows, and my cousins sing. So we've done a bunch of that kind of thing, camping trips. And so just if you can't really sing, you got to make the guitar sing, right?
Yeah.
Playing harmonies, playing melodies. And where does that stop? It doesn't. It just doesn't. It's just one of those things I don't think you can fully. I'm not Eric Clapton, never will be. Not Joe Bonamassa, never will be. So I can say those guys mastered it.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Page, you go down the list of amazing guitarists that probably mastered it way before they were even 32 years old, like I am now. Right. I'm never going to be there. Wouldn't say I wouldn't want to be there. I wouldn't be in the position I am now. You can never, and guys like me can just never really fully conquer it. So it's a challenge.
Yeah.
What guy doesn't like a good challenge?
Why can't you conquer it?
There's just so many. Well, there's only 12 notes. So you would think you could, right? And most of them are 12. I mean, you can get a cutaway in 12 fret guitar. There's just so many voicings, so many different. And like I said, there's only so many keys. I'm playing 7 keys. And I don't know. You get to where, I want to put a capo on the 2nd fret and play in that. So you're playing D shapes and stuff. You're always thinking. For me, it's always a thinking thing. My dad always wants to instill like it's more of a feel, and of course you have to hear it.
Yeah.
I'm getting there where I can hear these changes, and you're running solos now over somebody's stuff. And again, how do you play that melody when you're used to playing rhythm guitar?
Did you do a lot of lessons or okay?
Nope, not very little actually. I did that freshman year of college. I went and that guy was trying to get me to read music. This awesome guy.
So you can't read music?
Nope, no reading at all. Well, I wouldn't say not at all. I do a little bit with piano, but as far as what guitarist do you think, is Jimmy Page out there reading and flipping the scripts?
No. Right.
No. So no, it was all by, my dad started it for me, and then we did a couple, like 2 months of lessons. Okay, this wasn't really going
it's
fast
same
as I
thing with
wanted.
me. It kind of died out. I lost interest until I could get to, let's just get some chords.
Yeah.
And play some songs.
Yeah, and so I YouTube was changed. It's changed everything, right, for everybody. Painting, and I feel like I could build a house off YouTube. I cannot, but maybe with the right skill set or something. But you can learn anything off there, and then if you have the time, you have to put in the time. You can have every tube screamer and gain pedal and everything that Joe Bonamassa has.
Isn't there, though, this thing that says, if you just get that one, I'm going to be this little bit better?
Once you get past that.
And once you realize that's a lie.
Yeah, once you got
I'm still me, even with that.
Sure. Once you get, like, I don't need that $7,000 Les Paul. It's not going to make me sound like Clapton. Or it's not. Sorry, he's a Strat guy, so I shouldn't even say that.
Right.
The diehards are gonna go, what the heck?
Yeah, no, they're throwing bricks at.
Sorry, you just turned the show off. You just cut the show off right there. That was a sin.
I've seen him though with a Les Paul.
Yeah, he's played a little bit, but Brian May and the rest of them. You don't need that for your average Joe guy like myself. You don't. If you want it and you can financially do it, I always said, my dad's always said, and that's probably where I'm getting it from. Get the most expensive guitar you can afford. Do not do it to just impress your friends. Right. Please don't do it to impress your friends. It's cool to impress your friends.
Until you play something. Until you play like you shouldn't have that.
No, you shouldn't. No.
But there's so much fun to be had, even with whatever you've got.
Exactly. Make the best. I've had them played $200 guitars that have been, they're a little tight and they're, but if they're set up correctly, they will work for anybody. Yeah. I don't care who you are.
So what's your go-to guitar? Your collection?
Yeah, so that's another good question. I just bought I got my first GS Mini, which is just a travel guitar essentially.
The Taylor?
For me. Yep, Taylor.
Yeah, I have one of those.
Yeah, I love that thing. I played on the couch. You can lay down. I can be laying on my back on my couch and play that thing.
Yeah, it's super tiny.
Yeah, it can go.
But it sounds great.
Sounds awesome. It's got a little bit bigger sound hole, so you get a lot of punch out of something so small. I'm not afraid of scratching that one. I got an 814 Taylor. You get into that $4,000 to $5,000 range. Even though it's mine, I still don't want to scratch it. I still, sometimes
that's the other downside to the expensive stuff.
Yeah, so I think you get, or at least for me,
I can drag everything I have behind a car, and it's not going to bother me.
Yeah. And I mean, if I took care of my paint sprayer like I did my guitar, boy, it would look good. It would
A little case that it pops open and it sparkles.
Yeah.
Polish off a fingerprint.
Yeah. Or, again, the guys are going to laugh at this. My brushes. Hey, Jerry, how many brushes are you going to buy? Oh, man, I really should have washed that out. But we didn't have running water. Some excuse.
They will never laugh at you. We like people
like
you.
That
you need to buy more brushes.
You're right.
So you like that, like those.
I love that 814 and that GS Mini. Of course, now getting into the electric game, the Les Paul to me is the pinnacle.
How long have you been doing the electric?
This is probably 2 years or 3 years of that.
I did all acoustic stuff. That's what I loved. Paul Simon, Bob Dylan, all of that stuff. I can sing Bob Dylan.
Okay.
And then about 2 years ago, I had an electric guitar, but I went into, I'm going to learn the things that I've told myself I can't learn, the scales and all of that. And I've had so much fun. You talked earlier that if you can't sing, you've got to let the guitar sing.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I would ever say that the guitar, and when I'm playing it, that it's properly singing. But it does feel like I've got that input now. I've got that, I can't do it with my voice.
Sure.
But I do have that ability to have some fun now, and it's just so much fun.
Isn't that when you hit that, like when that connects, whatever you're doing, at least how do you get your guitar, how do you get whatever you're doing to sound like you hear on the radio? How do I get that line I just cut in to look like Muhlenberg's best guy? How do you get him to do that? When you do, I don't even know. It's not a weird euphoric feeling.
It's euphoric.
It's a awesome feeling.
I'll be playing in the living room, and normally what I've got is a computer, because that's been the next thing. I went through all the pedals.
Okay.
And then I thought, I've got to just get a USB interface, and now I've got all these digital pedals.
Yep.
It's cheaper. It doesn't quite sound, but it's close.
You got a problem.
I do. And I'll be playing with the headphones so they can watch TV, and I'll do something, and I'm recording it as I go, so then I can play it. And then I'm looking at them, and they're going, "Yes, Dad, that sounded just like what we heard on the radio, that part."
That part, yep. And then
pretty cool.
You slid it 1/2 step, Dad, to the wrong note.
Yeah, but then I've got a pitch corrector thing that I can actually tweak my little.
All right.
But yes,
I'm writing this down so we got to get you some help after this. No.
I do need help.
No, that's cool.
It's a lot of fun, though.
It's cool when you got guys that share that, right? Because you can do that in front of a group that has no idea or doesn't care. I feel bad sometimes. Actually, a lot of the time, see these amazing musicians in bars and pubs and
and people just
they're talking over it or they don't even care that somebody's there. That's just like, oh, they're there. Well, they're actually paying that guy to be there most of the time. And they don't. If everybody loved it as much as, you and I are kind of talking about loving it, then it wouldn't probably be as special. If everybody was amazing painters, oh boy, tough. It'd be tough.
It'd be tough.
So I love the GS Mini. I actually stained. So now we could find a way to transition. How does this go into our painting world? Right?
I got a plan.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a plan.
I'm just thinking. I just stained a neck. Stained a fretboard. I didn't like an ebony fretboard. I didn't like the looks of it on a guitar I had. Just was getting grimy a little bit. So I actually thought, hey, I'm gonna stain that thing. Why? Why not? Right? I'm a painter. Why not? If I can stain some stuff and can stain somebody's $30,000 cabinets or this vanity that's really high end or old that they want to restore, why can't I do it to a guitar that I play?
So what'd you do? How'd you prep it?
So it was actually fairly easy on this one. I got rid of that grime. That was the main thing. I had some really fine steel wool. Got that off, and then in just literally 3 or 4 coats of just ebony stain. I wanted it just black. It didn't look good. The grains were a little funky in it. I never really liked the sound of the guitar, but never liked the looks of at least that board. Turned out awesome.
Wow.
Little lemon oil after that.
Wow. It's
new strings. Now still sound. Did it affect the sound? Absolutely not. But at least it's a little more visually.
It looks better.
Yeah.
You look cooler holding it.
It's one of those things where you just like, you know what, I'm going to do this. Just what's the worst that could happen? I could completely screw it up.
Yeah, there is a fair amount
of bad
that
and I'll
could
have
happen.
to buy another guitar. Wow, geez, how awful would that be?
Hey, so getting back to paint stuff,
Sure.
I'm curious. You got a lot of people out there listening, DIYers and stuff like that. We haven't talked about this. I'm curious about just some practical ideas. What's the number one? If you would think of like rookie mistakes that you maybe see people make or that you've made. I don't know. Things like that. Rookie mistakes
Yeah.
that people make that the DIYers out there could be stumbling through and could probably try to avoid.
Ah, man, the advancements in paint itself is gone way just since I have not been painting as long as many of you listening, and way more than I do. I just think our tools are huge, and I'll maybe think of something as I'm. This is a great question, by the way. That's just frog tape, for example. Let's just go down the road
talk
of
about frog tape.
Let's go down just in our tools. There are painters that I know, and we won't mention any of their names, that don't like frog tape, and I just don't understand it. Or don't want to spend the money for it, and we'll go with the original blue or so. I don't know. For me, that's like a massive thing. If your line, you look like terrible. If your job is looking terrible if your lines aren't straight, or some of you that are going, oh my gosh, I can't believe you still use tape. What do you mean? Those guys that don't, I can cut straighter than, nobody cuts straighter than tape except me kind of thing.
Let's talk about, frog tape first off. For anybody out there who's not aware, it's a special tape that's got, it's chemically altered so that when the water from the water-based paint hits the edge of the tape, it seals it.
Yep.
And it's guaranteed, or it's designed to prevent that paint bleed through. That's so frustrating.
It happens. It's still going to happen. If your baseboards are clean, and you're taking a damp rag before your baseboard, dust settles on it. I'm not going to say it's impossible to get a bleed, because it's still going to happen here and there. You go around with a little artist brush. It's going to happen. The paint bleed's inevitable. It's going to happen. But it's much harder now with that
particular tape.
So I love the Frog Blue because I can get them in 6-packs, 1 inch or 0.9, 4 inch.
Yeah,
whatever
there's blue, there's green and yellow. They all do different things. We've talked about them on the show multiple times.
Yeah. And
so you use the blue.
I love the blue because I can get them in 6-packs, a little bit cheaper. You don't have to buy the green with the hard case. Those to me that's the premium, right? It's the I would use that if I absolutely thought I didn't trust myself for some reason. The blue, I just love it. You can get them in 6-packs. Yeah, Contractor deal, and
so
I love them.
What about those folks who are saying, like you said, there are people hollering at their phones or however they're listening to this that they don't tape, they get that clean line without you tape. Do you tape on everything or
not everything? Yeah, if it's most new constructions. Of course, no one's taping their ceiling. Some that do. No offense to anybody that's a DIY that doesn't feel like they can cut a straight line on your ceiling. By all means, whatever gets the job done. There's not a wrong way, right way. There's the only right way is your way and what you're happy with.
Yeah, and I would say the wrong way is forcing yourself into a system or a mode of operation that's outside of what you're really comfortable doing.
Yeah.
In order to mimic what you think somebody else who's a professional should be doing. We're not professionals.
Or that told you that's the only way.
So you do what you got to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't. There is no only way in probably anything. Just ask YouTube. Type in at YouTube. There's a bunch of different ways to do things. So yeah, I just love frog tape, and as far as troubleshooting and stuff, I like to use a little wet rag before. I know it seals the paint a little better, seals the tape a little. So you'll
get the tape down, and then you'll hit it with a wet rag.
And I'm not saying some people think they're going to soak it. Yeah, don't do that. I would not do that. You don't want to just soak that paper. But yeah, just lightly before you go around with your first coat. That will ensure a definite better seal. You can actually feel a difference when you go to peel it. And
you're just pre-activating that chemical
polymer, whatever it is.
Polymer that's going to
exactly
seal.
I didn't know that. I think they probably do show that now on frog tapes. Sometimes, demonstration, they'll actually show that. Somebody told me, another painter told me that. So I gave it a try, and he was right. It was one of those. Thank you. That really, whoever told me that, if you're listening, thank you so much, because I use it.
Do you think that it speeds up, because the argument is going to be that I can go way faster just cutting in by eye.
Yep. Yep.
And I'm sure that's the case for some people.
Sure.
But for you, you feel like you're faster taking the time, or is it just that you're more efficient? Or you get a better job.
Yeah, I think I'm super addicted to getting the best job I can get. And I'm my own worst enemy sometimes, where if this takes me a little bit longer, and of course that is time's money. Yeah, we all know that. In this trade or any trade, again, time is definitely money. If it sacrifices my time, if I'm going a little faster and it's sacrificing the results of this job, it's someone's dream home that we're dealing with here. Whether it's sold or not, it's somebody's going to purchase this. And I always worry about what someone else is thinking. Or somebody's going to see that later on. They might not see it right away and wonder, hey, that guy just cut that corner. Whether they say that or not, it's in my mind they're going to say that. So it drives me nuts. So a little bit of perfectionist there. But do your best. That's what I
and use the tools that are available.
Sure.
So frog tape, other tools that jump out at you.
I mean, just everything from a real quality brush. Again, Roy, when you're listening, Roy, I know you're going to be listening in, and you'll be giving me a hard time and wanting me to buy new brushes. But use quality stuff. It goes longer if you clean it out. You do it the correct way, and your job, I think, in my opinion, is going to benefit from that. The homeowner is going to benefit from that.
So different products. What about paint?
Yep.
And I talk about this. I talk about it because I'm marketing paint and selling paint, and so I know how people potentially listen to that.
Yep.
I'm the guy selling it. You're the guy buying it.
Yep.
You just talked about frog tape, talked about brushes, all of that. The good stuff matters. How do you feel about paint? I don't know what you're going to say on this.
Yeah, all right. I'll open the can of worms. Right?
Yeah, let's just see.
Somebody will go, "What in the world are you talking about?" And this and this. There's a definite. I struggle like everybody because I'm the one trying to sell it to a homeowner. You sell it to me. Aaron's selling it to me.
Yep.
I have something that I might like that rolls off the brush well, or what's got the most washability for the least sheen, right? Everybody's looking for that perfect scenario, that perfect paint. Can I still get it for $30 a gallon? No. Try double, and then we'll work. I've really become I have a deep appreciation for Carefree. RepcoLite's Carefree. I'm getting at a great deal. I feel like the eggshell's got some decent washability. The homeowner wins. It looks great. I like it because I'm winning a little bit. And I mean, if we both win here, what's the trade-off?
Right.
Is it going to scrub like ScuffX? No, absolutely not. If you wanted that, then go with ScuffX. Same with guitars a little bit. Go with the best that you can afford. I think that remains true with any trade. Go with the best that you can afford. But that middle ground for me is that Carefree. Do I use ScuffX on every single one of my trim jobs, regardless of price? Yes. That's all I use. It's what I love to use. It looks great to me. It's my go-to. The DIYers painting your old home. How do you justify $70 a gallon paint? Well, it's gonna last. It's gonna look great. Your kids can beat the heck out of it. You should be able to scrub it quite easily without seeing a massive sheen change and all that kind of thing. So yeah, back to that main part of your question. Get the best that you can afford.
Yeah, that's what your dad said with the guitars. But like you said, the thing that I always try to make the case, because my knee-jerk, my default position is money saving. On everything that I buy. And as I get older, I get wiser, and you realize that it's worth spending the extra because it's going to last longer. Now, I can't spend the extra on everything. I still have to make adjustments. So you still have to make those decisions. Where can I, afford to make the cuts? And that's why the secondary bedrooms and things like that, closets, can be different products.
Yep.
But when you talk about, okay, I'm going to drop the big bucks, I'm going to get ScuffX, big bucks. But, it feels big in terms of a gallon of paint. And I'm going to put that on. As a DIYer, especially thinking about it that way, the amount of work, using a quality paint, it applies easier usually. So it's going to be either the same amount of work or easier a little bit to use a better product.
Yep.
You're not going to have to do it nearly as often.
Correct.
That's the downside with the cheaper thing. You may save some money.
Up
the
front,
work is the same, and you're doing it quicker again. So if you don't love doing it, drop that extra ahead of time, and you'll save money in the long run.
And a lot of you, if you're listening to the show, you actually like painting. You know, you're actually, or at least you're interested in the trade, or like I said, doing your own home. So we're not targeting those that, and even if we are targeting the ones that just want to do it fast and save some money, or they're flipping a home and that kind of thing. There's different. Hey, I'm going to spray everything in flat. Wow. Okay, cool. I hope you're not going back in there, right? You're not going back into that place. So
you find the best thing you can afford.
I think so. That's if I'm going to give someone a suggestion. Yeah, get the best that you can afford.
No, that's good advice. And you know, when people are hiring contractors, you know, they're contacting you. Now you're working for a builder, but do you have any advice out there for people who are looking to hire somebody? You know, what are some things they should be looking for? What are maybe some red flags that you would see
in the workers? You mean?
Yeah, I'm thinking in the people that they're trying to get a contractor into their home.
Sure.
What should they be looking for?
So red flags for me. I mean, you can tell right away a personality of somebody and how you're going to go. And there's some guys that are amazing salesmen that are painters that are going to sell you on something. They've never done it. They'll fake it till you make it. You know, beware of those, but they're there. Those guys are there. Those women are there. They can sell you on a great job, and whether you get that is going to be in time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it does, and you got a heck of a deal. I'm not the cheapest guy, and I haven't been doing this long enough where I even feel sometimes where I can justify pricing. But I promise you're going to be happy when I leave, and that just doesn't mean with your job. You know, you're clean hands and the smiles and our personality, and anybody that I bring onto the crew is going to treat you like it's their home. You're going to leave satisfied. And like I've mentioned a little bit before, I have now gone, we're going to the Rolling Stones with fans. I'm going to Chicago music, usually around music.
With people that hired you.
With people that I didn't know from
ahead of time.
Next thing you know, we're best friends, and I'm not tooting my own horn there or anything. I just think once you can develop that relationship with them, with homeowners, and it's not always going to be that, right? Someone's going to pay you via Venmo or something off the bat, and then they're never going to talk to you again. Please pass on my name. That's the main thing. That $600 stairwell I did, or fill in the blank job you did for them, is great right now. But if they don't say, hey, you know, Bob's builder did a great job on this, and he blah blah blah, and he was clean, and they were friendly, and you'll really like them, then your business just stopped. That $600,
I think that's really important. You know, that's really something that I think a lot of people probably don't think about. I didn't think about that, and I think it's probably something super easy that we can do as homeowners, because we've all had. You know, I haven't had people come and paint in the house because I would do that, but there's other things where I've had people come in, and I've been so thrilled with the work. You know, and I've thanked them immensely. I've sent them a really nice email, and that's all really good.
Yep.
But what I could do that's really going to help turn things around is give their name out.
Exactly.
And it's fun to do. It's fun to have those answers and those names to give out, and it helps you guys so much.
If you're a contractor and you're interested in doing this, or if you're just getting into it, and you're thinking about doing it full time. I had a friend of mine. I went to Grand Valley. Same scenario actually. Was in my capstone class as a teacher. Got out of teaching. He taught a little longer than I did, and wanted to go into painting. His ass text blows up my phone all the time. I love it because he's in the trades. He's where I was. He, like I said, he taught a little longer than I did, and he had his own classroom and stuff. But he's interested in becoming a full time. Did it a little bit on the side, and will ask me questions because he knew I was going through it or just went through it a couple of years ago. What are you, LLCs and S Corp, and my accountant wants to do this. He's doing the same thing I went through, and a lot of you listening did 30 years ago or longer, and I root for him, even though he's sometimes in my area, and we're probably competing in quotes and some things. I think it's awesome. And do I want more competition? No, none of us do. But you have a guy that's trying to thrive, doing the same thing you do. We have the same work ethic, and that kind of thing is awesome. So you're working for, obviously you need that money. Okay, you got to pay your bill for that month, but the bills don't stop coming. Your mortgage doesn't stop. And maybe some of you again paid it off, awesome. But you're needing a new car. $300 is not out of the question anymore to go to the grocery store. You're working for that next suggestion, that next referral.
Mm-hmm.
So
with that said, do you want to give your name out, your contact info,
yeah,
if people want to reach
sure,
out?
Sure.
And who would you be looking for? What kind of work? You know, if anybody's thinking, I mean, could it be anything?
Yeah, anything real. I very rarely turn down a quote. Now, if you're in South Haven and I'm up here in Fremont and I'm mostly in Hudsonville now a little bit, that area, that's whole triangle between Holland, Muskegon, Hudsonville. I've done one down, where's it? By East Kentwood.
Mm-hmm.
It's about as far,
Okay.
for me. I like to actually refer guys that are outside that range to guys that I know are in that area.
So perfect. Anybody listening,
yeah.
they can reach out to you.
Yeah.
How's the best way for them to get in touch?
Yeah, you can www.cherry-painting.com, and I've got all my stuff. I'm getting a little better at updating that and updating the website. You can get me at cherrympainting@gmail.com, or even 231-225-5032 is my cell. Have it on, like all of us have it on us 24/7. Give me a ring late at night, early in the morning. I'll definitely be getting back with you, and we'll see if we can get you a quote. And if I can't do that, I'll refer you to somebody that I think will to be able to help you out even more than I can. So
Perfect.
yeah.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate the time.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your next concert? That's my last question.
Oh man,
The
next
thing
what do
you're
I
doing.
have?
I'm going to go see Dave Matthews in
Okay.
July.
He's really good. I saw him at the Hollywood Bowl. Went out
Okay.
there. I was in LAX or out in LA, and saw him. Awesome. You're gonna love. Have you seen him before?
No.
Oh, obviously super amazingly talented guy. A lot of energy. Way more than I would have anticipated. But who do I have on my list of guys to see? Or that's on my. I don't think I have one even purchased right now. That was. I think America is what I have coming. They're going to Interlaken.
Okay. Yeah.
So usually, I like to see at least one a summer at the Frederick Meyer Gardens. They're April. I think the first part of April they released their concert.
Okay,
deal.
so that'll be coming up soon.
Yeah, I think America is the only one I have on my plate that either I had purchased already or I'm definitely gonna go
All right.
up to Interlaken. But I'm praying, man, that the Who does one more. I saw Roger Daltrey last year. Sounded great. He's 80 now, turning 81.
That's insane.
So he still sounds awesome. So I'm really like, do one more. I missed them when they were in Grand Rapids last time. I don't know what the heck. I was some dumb excuse. I would really like to see the Who and maybe that Stevie Nicks and Billy Joel down at Ford Field. Tickets are really high, and haven't seen her a couple times and him once.
Well, I was blown away. I don't go to a lot of concerts, so the Dave Matthews one, I'm looking, oh, that's a lot of money, more than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, no, that's fine.
Yep.
And then I buy them, and then I get to it tells me what my card is.
Yeah.
It's like $400 more. What is happening? All the ticket fees
yep.
and oh my goodness.
We got somewhere it's got to put an end. I don't know. Maybe, I hate to say this, but maybe it's after some of our heroes are gone. My dad's heroes are gone.
Like they're just not coming back to our area? Are you saying like...
Or gone into the distant sky, man. They're in the heavens playing that's gone now because they are doing one or two more tours. Not Dave Matthews, hopefully, God willing. He does many more. But the Eagles, you name it, like Dead and Company, they're never going to be dead. They're going to keep doing they're going to do another Ethisphere coming up, it sounds like. But some of those, your big hits that are Stevie Nicks, 76.
I know.
Turning 77 here this summer.
There's going to be some dark days ahead of us.
Does that mean that, you're right, the Dave Matthews are the next crew? Are they the ones that are going to demand that because they're on their way out? And I don't know. Taylor Swift? You Swifties listening? Are you cool with paying?
It's not that expensive with newer bands?
No, look at Taylor. She's just crazily high. But you're right, that these Ticketmaster fees, where do we break? I broke
when I saw that money. I broke. Part of me just died. I don't think it can come back.
Where does the $200,000 home stop? And now it's $800,000 that it was 20 years ago, or even less.
Yeah.
Where does that stop? I'm praying very, very soon. Cap. In fact, don't cap it. Just go back a little ways to It doesn't have to be 200,000, but
I know.
can it be just a little less than the 8 that they're charging now?
Now I've got
That's
kids
our hope.
looking for a house.
Oh man,
And it's
tough.
just, it's, yeah.
There's regular condos in Hudsonville right now for 400,000 starting. 2-bedroom, 2-bath,
I don't know how you do it.
unfinished basement, 400,000
I'm sitting on
in an HOA, small
sitting
HOA.
on gold because when I bought the house I bought, it was right before everything went. And sitting on gold, all I mean is I got a good. I got
Yeah.
the price that the house was literally
Yeah.
should be at.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm paying.
Yeah, put yourself in your son's shoes like you're going
Oh
out.
my
There's
goodness.
just no
Yeah,
way.
You're buying something that's so much less house
Yep.
for twice or more the price that I paid.
I
It's
don't
unreal. I feel so bad for that situation.
And I don't see a ton of this smaller stuff. I'm like not a minimalist by any means. I got way too many guitars and music stuff, and I need more room. Let's put it that way. I just need more room. But in a world where we probably should start cutting back on some stuff, making things a little smaller, there's just not a huge market for 1,000 square foot homes. They're not. They're 2,500 ranches, and in my opinion, we need a little more of some of the what I would consider a nice starter home.
Yeah.
You know, my brother bought his first home. It was like 250 plus grand. It was like 1,300 square feet, dated, needs some serious work. For what my dad paid for 30 acres with a 2,500, 3,000 square foot, 4-bedroom, blah, 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 blah.
I know.
You get what I'm saying?
It's crazy.
Inflation, man.
Yeah. No,
I don't know.
we can't fix that.
No, we can't fix it.
Hey, thanks, Mike, for hanging out.
Anytime, man. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Thanks so much for watching. And remember, if you do like this kind of content, if you enjoyed that interview, make sure you give the video a thumbs up, ring the notification bell, subscribe to the channel. I did all of those things out of order. You can do those in any order you want. As long as you get all 3 of those accomplished, any order is perfectly acceptable. So do all of those things, helps us out a ton. And if you have any comments or questions, something you'd like to see on a future episode of the interview, somebody I should interview, throw those in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, I'm Dan Hansen. Thanks for watching.